addiction or your concept of what makes an addiction is what has you stuck. Is it more of an emotional issue or is it an actual substance abuse issue? Hey, my name's Cody. I'm going to be answering all your questions about sobriety. To what extent does identifying as an addict or an alcoholic serve as a crutch? Like, are you using that identity as a coping mechanism? Because you're going to live up to whatever you say you are. This is neurological facts. So if you say you're an alcoholic, it's imperative that you actually are one. Otherwise, guess what you're doing? You're programming yourself to become one. Now, you consciously may be aware that you are or are not an alcoholic, but your subconscious doesn't know the difference. It just follows what you put in there. Do you identify as an alcoholic simply because it's difficult to say no? You ever thought maybe your circumstances push you towards escaping it with alcohol? It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Every single person on the planet that finds themselves in difficult situations are always looking for an out. It's because it doesn't feel good, and it's not supposed to. That's what being a human is. So before you identify as an alcoholic or an addict, it's really important that you actually have a clinical diagnosis on that. No, and I don't mean your mom that says, you drink a lot, you're an alcoholic. Or just because they depict alcoholics in movies and you're like, I do that too. That doesn't mean you're an alcoholic. And I don't know who you're listening to that thinks that because you like to party that you have a problem with alcohol. Maybe you do, but you're not an alcoholic because you like to get down with the get down. Here's the trippy part about a belief system. Nothing has to be true in order for you to believe it. You just have to want it to be true to continue finding reasons why it must be. This is why being hard on yourself doesn't work. Because if it did, it would have worked by now. Does calling yourself a piece of shit make you less of a piece of shit? I don't think so. So I want you to be completely honest with yourself and determine whether or not you have a physical dependency on alcohol or you just have an emotional entanglement with it. Do you have to have alcohol in your body or your whole world starts to crumble? Is it physically impossible to function without it? Or does the thought of not having alcohol give you a ton of anxiety? It might be true that you've been drinking alcohol your entire life and you can outdrink everybody, but that also doesn't make you an alcoholic. And it definitely doesn't make you better at drinking. Scientific fact, someone who is good at drinking alcohol can get a buzz off one drink. If you've got a high tolerance, that's your inability to process alcohol in a healthy way. The more you drink, the harder it becomes for you to catch a buzz. So for your own mental health, before you identify as an alcoholic, you've got to accept the fact that in doing so, you're also embracing all of the stigmas that come along with identifying as an alcoholic. When you think of alcoholic, what comes to mind? That's who you are? That's who you think you are. You think you are all of those things just because you've got an issue with the way you drink alcohol? And when you're calling someone an alcoholic, you are seriously telling them that they are also all of those things? And when you've been drinking alcohol for a long time, you just find yourself in this super low mental state and you start to accept all of the negativity that everything and everyone starts to throw out because you've been finding reasons why you're crap anyway. And so when someone else says that or something implies that, it's really easy to agree with it. And that gives you another reason to drink. You would never do that. But alcohol would definitely make you do that. That's why the more alcohol you drink, the lower your mental health, the more of a reason you have to continue drinking. This is also why I don't care if you stop drinking, because if you do nothing with your sobriety, you are the same person, just not drinking alcohol. And that's where the issue is. You're equally capable of having a continued problem with liquor. You could stop drinking and be the same person, or you could transform into a different person and not have a problem with drinking. So if you're identifying as an alcoholic or you believe you have a substance abuse issue, it is imperative that you practice consuming less of the poison. As you start to feel better, you're going to want less. That's because your body operates better when it has everything it needs or less of what it doesn't. Happy people just don't drink themselves to death, and they don't find reasons why they need to destroy their happiness with alcohol. They use alcohol to improve their quality of life and enrich their day-to-day moment, and you'll never find a truly happy person that identifies as a happy drunk. So if you or someone you know can really use my support, 4 of the most powerful sobriety solutions on planet Earth are right on my page. And remember, sober is boring for those that have chaos in their heart.